Hi guys, it's your girl Ify and welcome back to my channel. So I realized that I haven't really shared my permanent resident journey in this channel. So I decided to do a video about that, and I think my story will encourage anyone out there that might be feeling dep- depressed or disappointed about the whole Canada immigration system, because as it is, so many things are changing. The policies are changing and it's becoming more difficult. In my time, it was already difficult, but it's now even more difficult for people that will want to come into Canada. But I believe that where there is a will, there is always a way. Okay, you should have that thing that is always motivating you to come, to want to immigrate to Canada. So this particular video, I'll be sharing my story, how I was able to come in as a permanent resident in Canada right from my home country. So I became, for those of you that know me, I used to own a business in Nigeria, and I was also a banker in Nigeria. So I would say I'm pretty doing well. I'm okay. But there was something that really motivated me, and I decided to want to move. Immigrating to, in fact, leaving Nigeria was never ever in my imagination. I never thought about it. However, when I saw so many things going on in Nigeria, and the job opportunities are not there, and then me as a mother, I was really thinking about the future for my child. So that was my motivational factor that really pushed me that I need to really leave the country. So irrespective of the fact that I was doing well, I was working and at the same time managing my business, I was also thinking about the future. So I started researching, though some of my friends and my family members told me about this Canada immigration thing. I didn't really know much about it. So it took me time to really research. And honestly, guys, if you're planning to come to Canada, don't just carry your bag and baggages and or pay huge amount of money to agents and you don't know anything about the country you're going, whether it's Canada or any country at all. The best thing you need to do is to make that research so that you know if this country you're going or you plan to go is something that it's good. So my first step was to research more about Canada. I learned from my research, I learned that it's a very peaceful country, and though I also learned that people can easily fall depressed, loneliness and all that. But me, I am a person that I barely go out. People that know me very well, once I close from work, I'm going to my business area to shop, to do stocks and all that. So from there, I pick up my child from school and I go home. So I'm this person that is always indoors, business minded. So when I see those negative things about Canada, how there is no much to like socialization and all that, I told myself, anyways, not like I'm the socializing type per se. Like I'm not so crazy about it. Once in a while, I can go out and come back, but I'm not. I can stay in the house. In fact, stay in the house. I won't. I won't be doing anything, provided I have phone with me, and there is light. I can stay 247 in the house. I won't feel bothered. Okay, so that's my kind of person. I'm this private type of person. So when I researched about Canada, I discovered that it's a very good country, but it's a lonely country, and at the same time, um no much socialization. No, you can barely make friends and all that. So I said okay, and then I researched about the school, the education, generally everything about that country. I made a thorough research and I came to a decision that fine, Canada, I was in between Canada, USA or UK. So after all the research that I made, I decided to go for Canada. Okay, so my first step on my immigration journey was I was listening to YouTube, and then from the YouTube channel as well as Instagram, so many people that I followed, I realized that, oh, I can actually make more deeper research on Canada website. So you see, so I was able to go to Canada website to explore how I'll be able to immigrate to Canada. So the first thing I did was to check comprehensive ranking score. In fact, I read different details about their immigration pathways. There are much, guys. There are much. So the two major ones that came into my mind was coming to Canada to study and then transition to become a permanent resident, or I can explore the permanent resident route, which is the express entry, all the way from my home country. So I took that two options, and I started applying to schools in Canada. I applied to 3 different schools in Canada, and I was able to get admission in University of Saskatchewan. However, when I saw the tuition fee, then I calculated my comprehensive ranking score. I assumed that that's one thing, guys. Before you start this journey, always use that comprehensive ranking score tools to estimate your scores. So I use that comprehensive ranking tools to estimate my scores. I put my age I will be after graduation, because I planned to do masters in University of Saskatchewan. Then I also put my work experience. Like you see the different variables in that comprehensive ranking score tools. I made a video about it on my TikTok page in case you don't know about it. So it's a deciding factor to help you know which pathway is suitable for you. Okay. So when I put in those tools, and I also calculated the score for what if I decide to remain in Nigeria to become a permanent resident instead, because studying in Canada can be very expensive and the exchange rate is crazy as at then. So you can talk more of now that is even more crazy. So I decided to ignore the study route and focus on being a permanent resident. Because after calculating the study route, as I mean going to study and then graduating, meaning I'll be more advanced, more, it also decrease my score as well. Though it would have earned me invitation to apply too, because I also assumed, okay, what if I actually have Canadian work experience? So that really took my score to 500 and something. Okay, then I have to recalculate my score of me becoming a permanent resident from Nigeria. I imputed the IELTS score, maximized the score, and I also calculated the fact, what if I do like a PGD in Nigeria or a master program, and I also included my work experience. Then when I included those things, I discovered that my score was like 490 something. Know that, sorry guys, call was coming in. Know that when I imputed that score, it was 490 something, and I checked the express entry pool. I discovered that the scores there were 500 and something. In fact, the scores were very high, and people within the range of 490 something, they were much up to like 50 something thousand. I said before they will get to these people here, it will really, really take time. So, and mind you, I was just estimating my score. The only thing I had there was just my BSc. I didn't even have the PGD. I was just like trying to estimate my score. Then I now included French into the things that I was imputing. When I included French, maybe I took French and I have the score. What will my comprehensive ranking score be? So I imputed French. I discovered that it took me to 500 plus. I said, wow. So I decided that if instead of me wasting my money to go and study in Canada, waste that huge amount, why don't just I stay back in Nigeria, do my PGD. At least I'm working and I also have a business, so I'm not like in a haste. The only major motivational factor that wants me to move was because of my child. So not like I'm stranded or I'm not doing anything. So I said, okay, what I will do while I'm working and doing a business, I will just enroll in this in PGD program. I thought of masters. I said master is going to delay me and my age will be increasing as well. Masters take approximately 2 years, but for PGD it takes just 1 year. So what I did PGD program in Open University. If you are in Nigeria, you know National Open University is an online program. Okay, so I was doing that, and I was also learning French with Duolingo. Then this woman they call Alexa in YouTube. In fact, there are so many French I learned from YouTube as well as Duolingo. And then after advancing in some stage, I had to employ a private teacher that usually comes to my house. We had to make arrangements towards evening because once I close from work, I go to my shop to meet up with my sales rep to calculate some stocks and all that. Then before carrying my child from school down to the house. So before I do all that, it will be evening. So I made a private arrangement with the French teacher who comes to my house every evening, like 2 hours class every evening to put me through. So that was how I was able to navigate the whole thing. Mind you, I was also doing, it was so stressful, guys. It was really stressful. I was doing my PGD program. I was doing the French and at the same time IELTS. Then the first, but know that before I started all these IELTS and all that writing, I was already sent my credential for evaluation because that should be your first thing you need to do. Credentials expire 5 years, but a credential evaluation expires 5 years. But when it comes to IELTS, TEF Canada, it expires 2 years. So evaluation should be your first. Writing your exam, if you write the exam first before evaluation, your test results will expire even before you enter the pool. So it's best you do your credential evaluation first. So during that period, I was also communicating to my school, University of Calabar, that did me like this shaggy. Oh my God. It was God's help that they eventually sent my transcript to West for evaluation. So I was juggling with so many things at once, from evaluation to reading IELTS. I read so many materials on YouTube. Is it E2 language? Smith. There are so many of them that I read on YouTube for my IELTS. Then for TEF Canada, like I said, I had to use Duolingo, as well as later on, I had to employ a private teacher. I did my TEF Canada twice because the first result was not really that good because I had B1 and I had B2. I had BB1, B1, B1, then just one B2. So it didn't really fetch me that high score. Know that IELTS, I've already done the IELTS that took me, I think I wrote the IELTS, is it 4 times or so? It wasn't easy. So I wrote my IELTS first. I had band 9, like band 8, band 9, and listening and all that. So it gave me 490 something. So when I added that same year, or the upper year, I graduated from PGD. I had to send my transcript again to West for evaluation. This one, it wasn't difficult because I was a recent graduate. So immediately I sent it. It didn't even take up to 2 days. They evaluated it. So it added to 2 or more certification to me. So the thing that I was now juggling with was to pass my TEF Canada. And the money was not, it was high. I think it's about 250 something thousand now, I'm not sure. But when I was doing it, the first attempt I made was 160 something thousand to do the TEF Canada. So when the result did not really come out good, I had to study again. I had to call back the private teacher. Let's interact more, especially in the listening aspect. TEF Canada is more like it's almost the same thing with IELTS, but speaking, they will give you material. You will, two different materials, you will read through, and then they will ask you some questions about it. So you are basically interacting with the French examiner in French. So that's how the TEF Canada is. So when I enrolled, I gave myself two, was it two, a bit 3 months or 2.5 months for me to re-enroll back. When I re-enrolled, I saw that the exam has the price for the exam has boosted to almost 190,000. I say, yeah, I had no choice, because that TEF will actually is like the game changer for me. Without that TEF Canada, I will still remain in that 490 something. And if I should be in the pool with each clocking birthday, my score will reduce with -6 or -5. So I had to retake that exam, and lo and behold, I was able to get B2, B2, and C1, C1. So that really boosted my score to 520 something. So I was so sure that I will get my invite. So what I did, so while I was in the pool, I knew that my invitation will be coming soon. I had to start arranging for medicals, because it's optional. It was optional then, but I needed to do it. So I had to take my child and I travel to Lagos to do medicals, so that as I'm submitting my credentials, those requirements, those documents, I will just submit my medicals as well. That was how I went to medicals. I had lots of stress there. Immigration is not an easy thing. That's why I said, any agent that is telling you, give me just some amount of money, my dear, you'll still be the one to pass the whole stress. They will only be guiding you. Okay, you'll still be the one to pass the whole stress of you going to Lagos, go and do your biometrics. I can't count the number of times I traveled to Lagos, because I don't stay in Lagos. I stay in Delta State. So I travel with my son, like biometrics. It was really a tough journey. It was, now that I'm narrating, it looks like it's very easy, but it wasn't easy. So after everything, just less than 2 months, because when you are in when after submitting your application, they invited me to apply. So I submitted my documents, everything, medicals and all that. So stage by stage, they will be showing you, updating your account, the next stage, and all that. So my medicals passed, everything, my biometrics, they sent biometric requests. I went to do biometrics. They updated that. And then I was now waiting for passport requests. It didn't take up to 2 months, because when I was submitting my credentials, I ensured that I submitted credentials that is self-explanatory. Know that Canada immigration, you don't need interview. So anything you're submitting should be self-explanatory, if not that is somebody that is going through the document, right? So I ensured that everything was like smooth, it's not complicated. I guess that was why my application did not really take time. Less than 2 months, I got my passport request. See me cruising in I got that passport request when I was in my shop. Even my stage rep didn't know why I was dancing. I said, these people don't understand. So when I got my passport request, I filled form. There is a form you need to fill. You fill the form, you take it to this thing, is it HDL, I what, to submit, to send a passport. Then I use Kenya. So I send all my passport with my child's own, the documents to Kenya. Within 2 weeks, I had to use Kenya, because from the group I belong to, I learned that they are very fast when it comes to stamping of passports. That was how I used Kenya. It was expensive. I think it was up to 100,000, 100 something thousand. So I sent it to them. So my passport came back with the yellow envelope, yellow CC. That's what we used to call it there. It came back with the yellow envelope, and boom! That was how I got my passport stamped as a permanent resident. And preparation started. In fact, that one will be another video. So prepare is another workload. It wasn't easy. So immediately the passport request landed, immediately my passport came back after 2 weeks. I had to start going for shopping, booking for flights. I took my time. I was not really in a hurry. I think after the passport came back, I took like up to 4 months again, 3 to 4 months arranging, because I needed my child to finish up the third term in school and at least have spend more time with their friends, because it's not easy, having to leave all the people you have behind and relocating to a new country. So I needed him to have the feeling of his friends, have that like get together with his friends before we finally relocated. So while I'm tidying with my job, selling off some things, and then my business as well. So that was what I was doing. Guys, the journey was not easy. This time I'm saying, so what really takes time to get is for you to build your score. Building of score really takes time. It took me 2 years, like 2 years learning French, IELTS, doing TEF Canada, evaluating my credential, 2 years plus to do all those things. So you notice that immediately I submitted my application, I entered the pool radar, I got invited, and immediately I submitted application. So less than 2 months, everything was okay. So what really takes time is that building of score. So before you start this journey, the first step you need to do is go to that comprehensive ranking score, estimate all your scores. That will tell you what pathway you will use, and check the number of people in the pool. That should be your first step before you just dive into any immigration pathway that people are diving into. You don't know if you are even eligible for the permanent resident. So if not for the reason I actually calculated my comprehensive ranking score and saw the option of study route and being permanent resident, which one, I had to choose the permanent resident one. So just use that comprehensive ranking score. That should be your first thing. That should be the first thing you need to do. With that, you will know where you are going and not just doing everything blindly without knowing anything. Okay, so I hope this story motivates anybody out there. The journey is not easy. Even when you learn, it's not still easy. But if you have that motivational factor, what is motivating you, you will be encouraged. It will push you to really do your best to leave the country. I hope this helps, guys. This is my story. I hope it helps somebody that is already feeling depressed. Okay, see you in my next video.